Okay, we'll call this meeting to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Let the record reflect that all board members are present. There is no student representation tonight. 5.0, agenda additions and deletions. Okay. 6.0, visitor input.
Oh, excuse me. I do need to eliminate 12.1. We already did that in the study session. Sorry.
Alright, so 12.1 will be eliminated. Okay. 8.0, approve the treasurer's report. Approve the agenda.
Did we have visitors? No.
Oh. Okay, no visitors. Okay, 7.0, approve the agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve with the deletion of 12.1.
I'll second. Okay. So support by a motion by Sather, support by Lotiger. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. 8.0, approve the treasurer's report for the month of June, for the first check writing of July, and for the second check writing of July.
Treasurer's report for the month of June. Total receipts of $706,983.61. Disbursements $159,881.83. Payroll $776,158.36. And balances at Miners Bank, $2,983,697. At First National Bank of Gilbert, $2,060,493. For the month of July, total disbursements of $261,598.97.
Can I get a motion to approve the treasurer's report for the first check writing, or the report for the month of June, the first check writing of July, and for the second check writing of July?
Also move we accept the treasurer's report as recorded by the treasurer.
So support by, or motion by Gentilini,
Support.
support by Sather. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. 9.0, consent agenda. A, approve the minutes of the regular meeting of Tuesday, July 25, 2019. B, approve minutes of the study session of Tuesday, June 25, 2019. I did say July. Did I say the first? Okay. For June 25th, 2019. D, accept donation of $7,100. C, accept donation of $874 from Palms for the purchase of new palms. D, accept donation of $7,142 from Football Boosters for the purchase of a new sled. E, accept donation of $400 from E.G. Palms and $500 for girls tennis from the Evelyn Elks. F, accept resignation of Nate Perkio, junior high football coach. Can I get a motion to accept the consent agenda?
I'll make motion.
Motion by Lotiger.
I'll support.
Support by Yuhan. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
I'll abstain because I was not present for this meeting, so I will abstain.
Okay. So we have a 6-0 vote with one abstention. Okay. So motion carries. 10.0, items removed from the consent agenda, there was none. 11.0, approve 1.0 FTE school counselor assignment for Tara Fierke.
Mr. Chair, we did advertise statewide for a school counselor for the Gilbert campus, full-time counselor. We had one applicant after a period of 3 weeks. Ms. Fierke comes to us, she's currently counselor in Pleasant. Wants to be back up in this area, so she did apply. And she has lots of experience and good background, so I think she'll be good for.
Excuse me, Mr. Chair.
Yeah, someone already told me that, but I didn't listen the first time. Randy always tells me I should listen.
So, can I get a motion to approve the 1.0 FTE school counselor assignment for Tara Fierke?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Lotiger,
Second.
second by Schoberg. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. 12.2, approved school bus purchase.
Mr. Chair, we did have, we've been trying to buy one bus a year to keep up the pace. So it is in the budget, the preliminary budget that the board approved. We did have 2 bids, one from United Truck Body out of Duluth and the other from Tulane Transportation of St. Cloud. St. Cloud. The Tulane for the Thomas bus was a couple $1,000s less, but by the recommendation of Mike and our lead mechanic, they're saying that it's just a lot easier for parts work, warranty work and everything if it's closer to being Duluth, and he likes working on the Bluebirds better, so he's recommending that we go ahead and purchase the Bluebird. And this one is a little more expensive than the past one we bought, because the last one we bought was a regular bus. This one's one of the flat nose, so it can fit in the Evelyn garage here.
Okay, very good. Just for clarification, 12.0 new business, 12.1 was removed, so that's why we went right on to 12.2. Okay, so 12.2, approve school bus purchase. Can I get a motion to approve the school bus purchase?
I'll move.
It's a motion by Sather,
Support.
support by Gentilini. Any discussion?
I had one, I thought we were looking at potentially getting 2 buses.
We can. We need to.
I mean,
We didn't budget for 2. I mean,
but we had the discussion about it.
It'd be above and beyond. We only budgeted 1.
Yes, but did we have a discussion about 2 buses?
We did.
Okay, I didn't know if I was imagining.
I don't know what the board's appetite is for spending another $106,000 above what we already.
So possibly a separate conversation?
Yeah, let's have a
Okay.
separate conversation about that.
How soon before that second bus needs to be purchased?
Well, we have buses in service right now, so I mean, it's not an emergency.
Okay, all right. Any more discussion on 12.2? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. 12.3, approve the 2019-2020 non-negotiated rates of pay.
Mr. Chair, I just took the ones off of last year's agenda, given a couple changes that were made last summer to just to a couple of them and move them forward. If the board feels that any of those should change, I mean, we can have that discussion after we have a motion and a second, and that would be fine with me.
So, can I get a motion to approve the 2019-2020 non-negotiated rates of pay?
I'll move.
Moved by Sather, second by Addy. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Right.
Opposed? Motion carries. 12.4, approve season ticket prices, gate fees, and student participation fees.
Mr. Chair, these have been the same for a really long time. Last year we did, if you remember, we allow our students free entry into our games, and I think that was a successful program. And I would encourage the board to continue that. Other than that, everything has, again, remained the same.
So can I get a motion to approve the season ticket prices, gate fees, and student participation fees?
I will make, was just gonna make the motion with the students continuing to get it free, but
Well,
you already did, Tom. It's okay. You got it.
So motion by Tom, or by Director Gelini. I get a second?
I'll support.
Support by you, on. Any more discussion, or any discussion?
I heard a lot of positives about allowing the students in for free, so I'm glad that we're going to continue that.
No, that goes the other way too, Jeff, with the Virginia, if they're students, they come here, or do they have to pay? They have to pay?
They have to.
Okay.
Unless you
I
want
just
to change
didn't know.
it, but that's the way it's set up now.
Okay, all right,
Which is pretty standard in other places.
okay,
Yeah.
okay. Any more discussion?
I've never believed in participation fees. I just wanted to make that comment. You can vote.
Okay. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Okay, so we got 6-1 with Dr. Sorkin voting no. 12.5, approve resolution for consolidation with Virginia schools.
Mr. Chair, this is a resolution that we talked about at the joint board meeting on July 18th. We had the discussion that this resolution will get the ball rolling. It is by no means the final solution. We have to start making a consolidation plan, which, as I stated on Thursday, doesn't happen overnight. From there, that plan will be in front of the board several different times for input. And that plan would include everything from how we're going to combine contracts, school names, colors, all that stuff. I mean, business, offices, who's teaching what. I mean, it's a pretty extensive document, so it will take some time to nail down, and the board will have to make decisions along the way as to if it's palatable to them or not.
So this resolution is, we are approving the resolution as it is written. We are not making a decision whether it will go to public vote or go to a board vote to consolidate, correct?
No, you can decide that at a later date if you so choose.
Okay. So I hope everybody has read the resolution and read it thoroughly.
Well, I know,
So,
we can have
let's-
discussion,
let's-
we can have discussion before we have a motion in a second. There's
Okay.
nothing that prevents that.
Okay,
I guess I don't see it that way, that this resolution is, other discussion can be taken after that, because there are so many particular things in here. If we vote on it and approve it, all of this goes into effect. It's not just as I see, it's not just a motion to say the board supports the idea of consolidation. And then you take the next step, which I think should be going to the people, the voters. And then I would say you come back to this very formal, very complicated motion, which none of us have had a chance to ask questions about. We've never had a study session on it. There's so many things in here and in the joint powers agreement. And I think it's just way too premature and very unreasonable for us to even be voting on either one of these tonight. I don't believe that all of the board members, and if you do, you're exceptionally bright, understand all of this, all of the aspects of both of these documents. You know, it's like passing something without even understanding it or meeting about it. We have not met with this.
I would like to say too that I don't feel like this needs to happen tonight. I feel like we should have some more conversation about it. Like I sent an email today, just what does it look like? Because the target goal, the goal date was July of 2020 to have a consolidation. And I sent an email today asking Jeff, what does that look like? Because and I think some of those questions we need to have a discussion about and make a decision after we have a work session and discuss it a little bit further. That's how I feel about it. Just because I have gotten a number of phone calls, I have gotten a number of emails, and I'm sure everybody else has as well. And I'm feeling pressured to make a vote tonight on that, and I don't feel ready to make a vote. Because like I'm making a vote on whether or not to send it to the public or to make a board vote, and I don't know if I can say this here or not say this here. I fully support the consolidation, but I understand some people's concerns about the fact that it is a target date of 2020, and there's a lot of people that weren't anticipating that, and they were anticipating a 2022 or 2023 consolidation. And, you know, I've thought a lot about that as well, and, you know, what's the difference if we do it now or 2023? Because the majority of the phone calls that I have taken or emails that I have taken, most of those people have said that they see consolidation down the road, like 2022, 2023. They didn't anticipate 2020. So I guess I just, for my own conscience, I'd like to have more discussion on what it looks like. Some of the things that you mentioned that we would be deciding down the road, I'd like to have some more idea of what those things are. The question I had asked was, if we consolidate in 2020, does that mean we're going to consolidate kids and classes? Does that mean we're consolidating and combining sports? Does that mean just administration and finances? What all is entailed in that? And I guess I would just like another work session, maybe a longer work session, to hash that out and talk about that before we sit down and make a vote on a resolution or make a vote on whether or not to send it to the public. Because right now, I don't feel like I have enough of those what does it look like type of questions answered.
So, I have been thinking about this since the day the referendum passed, period. So I don't fully get where people anticipated 2023, and I spoke with someone and told them that. Like, I don't see where that is of any benefit of right when the academies is built, our kids walk in and figuring out one district at that moment. So I am in support of a consolidation. I am in support of it sooner rather than later. However, this is where, and I've gone back and forth, and I realize if I'm going back and forth and I'm not sitting well with me, then I know what I need to do, and I am in support of it going before the community for a vote. I promised I would always sleep good every night being on this board, and this has been the worst part. And a consolidation, again, 100% in support of it, and I have no problem talking to anyone about it. And I don't think that it should be postponed or prolonged waiting for the academies to be built, because I think that there's efficiencies and everything else that go in with it that we should be looking at this soon, and I would support a vote as soon as possible to do this. But I need to be right with me. I am one person in our community. I know we were elected to make tough decisions. This is different than tearing down a building that hasn't been used in 20 years. So
I would also like to add, I haven't come to that clarity that Kelly has about whether or not to bring it to a public vote or have the board vote on it. Right now, I don't know. I mean, right now I'm kind of sitting at a board vote, but I don't have that clarity, and I think I need some of those questions answered, or at least further dived into before I can make that decision, because it does say a lot in the resolution. It does say a lot about the desire to pursue the process for consolidation. Again, like I said, I fully support consolidation, and I see that as being the only way that this works, as well as many of the other voices I've heard from, you know, community-wise or staff-wise. I agree with that. I agree that consolidation is the way to go. I'm just not 100% positive on the route of going there. like I said, I spoke to a number of people, and a number of people did feel that when they voted, that it was for a consolidation. It was for two districts coming together, being under one roof and consolidated. New name, new mascot, new colors, the whole works. But like I said at that Thursday meeting, when I suggested the survey and jumped on board with the board vote, I know that there are people out there that didn't see it as a consolidation vote. This is one of those tough decisions as a board member. And like I said, I feel like I just need some more information because some of the, again, the reason why it's hard for people to want to be a board member is some of the negativity that comes in attacks that come. So we do the best we can.
Well, I was looking at, there was a prior resolution put out that wasn't voted on or anything. And it was concerning the consolidation. And I'd like to bring out the point is number 8 was in that original one. And that states that if school boards in both independent school districts 2154 and the school board 706 approved the consolidation of the two districts, referendum levies pre-approved by that, so this was a vote going out to the people.
Again,
It's just a draft, Tom. I mean,
Well, I realize that as a draft.
I'm not saying with clarity that I wouldn't allow, vote for a board vote. I'm not saying that I wouldn't allow that. I'm not saying I wouldn't allow for a public vote. What I'm saying is, can we have a session? Can we table it, have a work session, and have some more discussion about what it looks like for consolidation in 2020 versus a consolidation in 2022? Again, I'm leaning towards a board vote on it, but I need some more information.
Go ahead, Matt.
I agree with Brandy, just about everything she said. And I think I've said many times, many ways, many places, I'm 100% behind consolidation, and that certainly hasn't changed one bit. It's just a matter of the process and how we get there.
And some of these, I'm for this consolidation as well, but the emails and stuff that I have received have nothing to do with the future of education. It seems to me that everything that I've received, if there was a vote to swing my vote the other way, had nothing to do with education. It had all to do with colors and names and buildings. And I just felt that's not the direction we should be going when it comes to this. That I would change my vote.
There was one thing, and I get that, and I had very different conversations and everything with people, and I spoke with someone today who I know she shared with me, she was clearly in support of the referendum and the collaborative work that we were doing. However, she also pointed out, and that was kind of my piece too, that she pointed out that remembering our process is just as important as our outcome. And I feel like we've been working so hard for 2 years to make sure that we had a good, clean process, that we were doing everything within our powers to educate people and make decisions. Do I realize of the headache that a community vote would be? Yep. But I'm also going to put my faith in our community to do what's best for our students and for our district, and I do feel that that's a consolidation and sooner rather than later. But I think I don't know why we'd be skipping that process part, and that's what I realized was sitting hard for me, was I felt like we were skipping a process. So and I respect everyone's opinions, and I would just like the audience to know that these decisions are not easy, and please, regardless of what board members' decision is in the long run, it's not easy being here. It isn't, no matter what. So please be respectful to people, no matter what. We try to be respectful of everyone else's thoughts and opinions and what they're thinking and listen to you guys, but we also need that sometimes too, so just.
I mean, I mean, to your point, Bill, and I certainly, obviously didn't follow anyone into the voting booth, but the folks that I've heard from, and it's been a lot of people. But frankly, I haven't heard from one person who I don't have a very good sense of what side of the referendum they were on. And I haven't heard from one person who voted for it who said, let's slow the consolidation down. As Brandy said, most everyone there says, I thought we already voted for consolidation. Well, no, we didn't. We didn't. And I made that very clear that that wasn't what the vote was, and it was not. But on the same token, from folks who I had a sense from were opposed to the referendum. Now they're opposed to this. So it is, you know, it's.
I agree with you there.
And I think that being said, that if it goes to a public vote, it's going to bring out ugliness all over again.
And I don't support any of that.
You know, and I think it's just going to be, it's going to divide. I mean, we already know that we're going to be sharing a high school academy together. Even though some people think it's still going to be built north of Virginia, which just blows my mind.
I heard that last night.
Yeah.
Oh.
And doing that at a public vote is, like I said, it's going to bring out the ugliness all over again. So.
One thing, I know there's a lot of committees, and there was a lot of people that donated a lot of time, and that was all appreciated. And the only thing I came across on the sites, that there was a site right behind the Gilbert High School that comprises of almost 40 acres. And is accessed in there in two different ways. It is all high ground, there's no wetlands in there, and it could be purchased.
So Tom, just show everybody just what you're, I mean, I know it's not germane to what we're talking about,
And I
but
feel
just
like
show.
it's backtracking.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
I
bus
mean,
left the station long
Yeah.
ago, I think.
I mean, if the land isn't buildable, then we'd look at something. But if the land that we've already chosen and discussed and brought forward to people is buildable, we shouldn't even be discussing it anymore. I mean, it was decided already.
Well, my only point is that this property was never looked at. Never even a value was never brought into consideration at
I
the
don't know
very
if that's
beginning.
100% true, because I remembered conversations about land that people weren't willing to sell, and land that was had mineral rights. So, but again,
There was, just to put it to bed, I mean, there was a willing seller there. It wasn't large enough for what we were trying to do.
okay.
And I, not having the opportunity to attend last Thursday's meeting, which I'm sorry I didn't, but, and Kelly mentions the insomnia that's occurred a little bit, but frankly, I've had the opportunity to watch the tape quite a few times, and that's cured my insomnia. But I did think John Hunick very articulately said that Site B works, and there's options with Site B that we didn't even think were there.
and Site A
Also works.
also works, even though it's been brought to my attention that the school district, it was brought to my attention that there's been no communications between the school district and the city of Evelyn in the purchase of that, which is completely false. Me and Jeff did sit down at this and did speak to that.
I was just up there with them today.
Okay, so,
So actually, we don't have any site that is actually dedicated and it's got a contract on it. So sites are still open, right?
No, they're not necessarily open for us to continue to, I mean, we are putting money and time and energy into looking at the current sites that were identified. And it's appearing that both of those sites are buildable and that we will use them and be able to go forward.
That's
But
right.
we're not going to purchase anything until that stuff was done. So
Okay.
that's why nothing has happened for purchasing. We're not going to purchase
As a
sites
business,
that we're not going to use.
as a business person, if you're looking at the sites, it's $3 million, which site would you go? And they're both buildings.
But the purchase agreement's all contingent on its buildability, on how, we wouldn't buy something and find out we couldn't build on it.
They're looking, the engineers are looking at laying it out right now, so
Yes.
Topic A.
Yep. All right, very good. Okay,
So I'd make a motion that we, not table, because tabling is just to the end of the meeting, but we postpone a vote on both the consolidation document and the joint powers document until such time that we can have one or more, or as many as needed, meetings to discuss this. And I would suggest that those meetings be with the attorneys who wrote this, wrote the documents. And so we fully understand what we're signing, what we're getting into, and what this will look like, and the ramifications and the benefits and whatever.
so we have a motion on the table to
Postpone.
propose just 12.5 at this time. We'll do 12.6 next.
Fine.
Okay,
We could do it at the beginning, but you're the chair. I mean, at the same time.
I'll support the motion.
so we have a motion by Director Shorkin and supported by Director Gentilini to postpone 12.5 for further discussion. Can I get
How about any more discussion?
any more discussion?
Thank you. Again, I don't want to kick this down the road forever. I would like to get something scheduled as soon as possible for a meeting to start having some, to have some discussion in depth about what it would look like and what needs to be done for the consolidation piece. That would be the process that we were potentially voting for tonight, because that's what my understanding was we were voting on giving permission to start the process. And so I'd like to make sure that that meeting happens soon, and if we have to do 2 weeks through the month of August, I'm good with that. But again, I'm not saying that I'm not in support of just a board vote. I'm just saying we need to talk about it some more.
Okay. So, we got a motion by Director Sorkin. We have a second by Gentilini. By voting yes, you are voting to postpone 12.5 until we can schedule a meeting for further discussion.
And mine was not just one meeting, but one or more meetings, as many as we need
Okay.
to feel comfortable.
So, by voting yes, you are agreeing to postpone this until further meetings can take place. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No. So it's...
Were you a no?
Yes, I was.
Okay.
So, it is a 6-1. So the motion carries to postpone 12.5 until further meetings can take place and further meetings and discussion. So Jeff, that being said,
is
we,
everyone okay with next Monday?
okay, but can we bring the attorneys in?
Yeah.
Okay,
Well, one,
we
the other
just
one might be
check?
on the phone.
okay.
Fine.
Okay, so we'll
Next
move
Monday.
next Monday at,
Because just to reiterate, I mean, Mitch wrote the resolution and Margaret worked on the joint chief meeting.
Right.
So we have to get her on the phone.
okay, so we would do Mitch on 12.5 and then Margaret on 12.6, but, okay, so
You're looking at Monday the 29th?
Yep.
I can't make it.
allow them some time and bring pizza, I think it might take a little while. Okay, so that being said, we're going to move off of 12.5, postpone till next Monday, and you will give
John
us,
said he can't come.
okay, all right.
Here Wednesday.
Well, no, that's
Gone for
the
the rest of
time, yeah.
It'd be the following Monday before I can do it here. Which is
I mean,
I'm gone on the 5th.
the,
I'm gone.
well, we're just gonna have to schedule something, whoever can show up.
So next Monday, John, you'd be the only one that wouldn't.
done, yep.
I mean, this is just going to be a discussion, not to approve anything. It's just going to be a discussion on the details of what's in the resolution.
but I'm assuming he's probably gonna wanna know that information as well.
We can videotape it.
We
Yeah, record it, please.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was
fine.
very
So-
helpful for me. last
So
week.
if next Monday's the date, can Hugo be here then? to record the study session?
So let's do it Monday then.
Monday
As
at-
long as the attorneys can be present.
I'll check with them in the morning, and if they can't, we'll have to pick a different day.
Well, we can massage, I mean, Justine and or Jeff can canvass us, you know,
Yeah.
by email and phone or whatever, of what
We'll
maybe.
start with just tentatively next Monday, and
Yeah.
if one of them can't show up, then
Right.
we'll,
It might even allow John to attend, but that's okay to do it other than at this board tonight.
Okay, so Jeff, you will give us a date when that'll take place.
Yes.
Okay,
Monday,
Monday.
possibly at 5.
That'll be the first date that we try with the tenants, Monday at 5.
Okay. Moving along, 12.6, approve the joint powers agreement with the Virginia schools.
Well,
So,
and again, we can have discussion before any motions, but personally, I was kind of confused as why that one didn't come first anyway, joint powers agreement before the consolidation one, so, but with the discussion that's gone on already, I would make the same motion for the joint powers agreement.
so, motion by Director Sorkin to postpone 12.6 until further discussion can take place amongst all board members.
I'll support the motion.
So we got support by Director Giannini. Any more discussion on that? I would hope that all the board members would actually look through this and read it and go through it, and if they have any questions, to contact Jeff,
I will say that,
you know.
last minute thing, apologize, but I did get a few last second changes to some of the language, and most of it revolved around the superintendent being a voting member. I did pass around the suggestion from the attorney, and then I redlined it, so I'll just pass around
Good.
the red line.
You know,
You understand what got changed?
There's so many copies and drafts floating out there, it's really hard to see how it's evolved.
this is the one with the stuff that was taken out.
Changes.
That's the changes from the last
Okay,
one that
so
you saw last
this one
Thursday.
isn't-
Yeah.
This one is no good.
No, the one I handed out is the version, but the red line is just showing you what changed.
This is,
Oh, okay, all right.
yeah, this is very
Right.
helpful.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so with that, with the new joint powers agreement in hand with the changes, I would, like I said, I would hope that everybody would read it, and if they have any questions, to call Jeff, and if Jeff can't answer them, I'm sure he can get a hold of the attorney who can answer them.
But I think some of the questions, Bill, should be discussed as a group, so
Correct.
we all understand
Okay,
that.
okay,
because
that's fair.
Just one other little side note, this is fairly inconsequential, but on one of the pages it calls for the agreement to start on a date. And I picked that one, the old one that the attorney gave us said January 1st, and I changed that to August 2nd, and you won't see that in the red line, but you'll see it in the bigger line. Like I said, it's first shattering. That should be the only difference.
Okay, so 12.6, we have a motion on the table to postpone it till further discussion with all board members, which probably will be the same Monday. I would take that, Jeff, or would we?
We'll start with Monday.
Okay, we have support by Giannini. Any more discussion in regards to this?
I think we should have the meeting regardless if we're discussing this. Well, I suppose the attorney needs to be there. Okay, forget it.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Till further date.
Near future.
Okay. 12.7, discussion on broadband project.
All right, a little later topic. If you remember back to the last meeting we had in June, Melissa, who's here tonight, came and presented on a broadband project that they're working on. And she can, if you want to come up, Melissa, just recap a little bit about what you were talking about. And what she's looking for tonight is our support in that, and that would be financial support. Could be anything from $1,000 to Virginia gave 7, is that right?
75, yeah. Can you hear me?
That doesn't,
Oh, it doesn't
Just
work?
for the TV.
Okay.
go ahead. So just
So-
give us a 5-second review of what you're up to and
So part of our conversation that we had last month talked about the $150,000 that we had access to through the broadband, Quad Cities broadband program through Blandon and Iron Range Resources. And that was when we talked about Wi-Fi on the buses. I think people probably remember as an option for the school, and maybe some of the concerns about leasing the buses and what that would mean. So those projects for the first round have been submitted, and as part of that, we also have access to $25,000 in matching funds for a feasibility study, and that's in the Quad Cities area. And we're also working with the other broadband communities to have a region-wide study. Last year they did one that extended from, it might have been 2 years ago, Hibbing, Chisholm, Mount Iron, Buell. And now this would go from Virginia, Evelyn, Gilbert, and all the surrounding townships. So it would cover the school district boundaries of Evelyn and Virginia. So with that $25,000, it's a matching opportunity. So we have been going to the different townships and the school board and the cities to see if there is any availability for matching funding, so we can have a big feasibility study in the area to look at the broadband needs for the area. So, sorry, I apologize, it's hot.
It is hot. I'm fanning myself over here too.
So we'll basically be able to have a feasibility study and look at unserved and underserved areas in the region, and we would have that be done by an outside person. I mean, we haven't quite got that far, but right now it's getting the matching funds. So we have 18,500 of the 25,000. We have commitments from the City of Virginia, the Virginia School Board, Vale Township, and Murray Township right now. So that's really exciting. And then as part of that, Blandon would match the other 25,000 if we're accepted at the end of September. So is that
that's
a good
fair.
overview?
Unless
Okay.
they have any questions, but what we're looking for tonight, if somebody feels that the school district should be a part of this initiative, if you want to make a motion to be a part of that, that would be fine. I would recommend that we be a part of it in some way, shape, or form.
Can I add one more? Can I add one more?
Mhm.
Okay. So part of what we've done for the other communities that have contributed funds is, that access to the $150,000 is we had made a commitment to the entities that put money into the feasibility study that we would be able to, the committee would give that a recommendation for those projects to move forward with that level of dollars. So for example, if you had $1,000 that you contributed and you had a project worth $1,000, and then you have, some of the projects need in-kind matching, or if it's equipment, then it needs additional funding, but we would be able to take some of that, and we've set that aside as a committee to give back to those entities, or give priority, I should say, to those projects that come through to the Business Development Committee.
Are we looking for a financial amount to recommend contributing?
And what would that amount be?
And we've had, so I can give you the breakdown of what we've had so far. So Vale Townships has provided $1,000. The City of Virginia has provided $5,000. The Virginia School District has provided $7,500. And Murray Township has provided $5,000.
Now, the towns and townships and school boards have already donated, but I know there's some legal aspect of what public entities can and can't donate for. I mean, evidently this falls under that. I know you can't donate to other things.
Right, you can't,
Is it technically donating versus paying for the feasibility
No,
study?
it's donations.
no, you're donating, but
Okay.
there is some guidelines for, she's right. I mean, like if we wanted to donate for, what's a bad example?
But you're getting something for it, right?
Yeah, there's a. well,
Okay,
yeah,
so
there's
you're
a
not
return.
like just donating, you're
You may
getting.
or may not get something, whether you apply for it or
Yeah.
not.
You
So it's a
get-
feasibility,
Not
right?
Yeah, you would get so the other communities that did this last year, or 2 years ago, they got a feasibility study that showed their area right down to the street where the broadband is or isn't. And so what they utilized that for would be to work with providers to be able to expand into those areas. So I don't know if you remember, when we talked last time, we talked about Cherry Township was one of those, and how they have a project now where they're working with CTC, a provider, and they were able to do that because they had the feasibility study where it went down to the street level. And then they had a meeting after that and said, we have a need. And people showed up and the providers showed up, and now they have a project. They've applied for funding from the state, which is a different pot of money, and they were able to get that. So you get, basically we would be paying for somebody to put together the feasibility study.
Yeah, I'm not necessarily against it at all. I just,
Yeah.
and it sounds like we are paying for a product or service by doing this. So maybe not calling it a contribution,
Yeah.
just calling it
Something like a,
a group, whatever, for a product.
and I might have used the wrong
Yeah,
wording,
so
and I
that's all.
apologize for that.
I think it would be helpful just
Find out the
to,
legal.
well, that, yeah, but to also see where our students lie, the areas of broadband and where our gaps are for the students in our district. I think would be very relevant since we're sending everyone home with these iPads and everything else. So I completely would be in support of it. I would like to make a motion for 5,000 with the understanding that if we could check into the legal aspects just to make sure we're in compliance with that.
Sure.
I will support that with that, Jeff. Yeah, look into that to make sure that there's no misappropriation of funds by any means for this project. So I will support it.
Discussion and a vote.
Any discussion, any more discussion? Okay, so on the table is 12.7 is to donate $5,000 for the feasibility study, contingent on the legal aspect of the contribution towards the feasibility, that it doesn't fall into any misappropriation of public funds. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you for your time. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, Leslie.
13.0, administration report.
This is my month off, but I'll just real briefly, I want to say that we're in the midst of another round of public meetings this week about programming, and extremely well attended. We're getting good information. Good to see all the participation, particularly with our staff. And I will contact our attorneys in the morning to see their availability for Monday. If not, I'll have Justine start polling people to see what another date that we can get. So I'll
Okay.
try to get that done. That's all I have.
Very good. 14.0, we got any public comment? Anybody want to comment in the audience on anything?
I guess I would just like to request that, or just like to say that I'm not sure what this project looks like without a consolidation. And so I would strongly encourage everybody to consider what.
Could you step up there for you, please?
Yeah.
Alyssa Bowe, I would like to just ask you guys to consider what this project looks like without consolidation. That's my only request, is without consolidation. I don't think that this project works. And the public voted for this project to happen. So at what point are we considering that process? Thank you.
I'll just speak from here because I can speak loud enough. My name is Leo Skirvik, and the reason I came here is to encourage the board to consider a public referendum. I'm not scared of the vote. I'm not scared of the public. I'm for consolidation when the time is right or whatever the issues are. But I strongly encourage the board to think of a public vote for consolidation. When we consolidated from Gilbert with Evelyn, it was a 5-year process. I understand that you have a time frame, but due process, I firmly believe in the democratic vote. I trust the public, the way they judge it, so be it. That's what you're elected for. Thank you.
Thanks, Leo. Any more public comment?
Is Michelle what's on the agenda?
She was on, but you can come up and speak, Michelle.
Well,
I did ask for you to be put on there, but you can speak. I will allow you to speak. I mean,
let our secretary hold her staff.
yeah,
The reason I'm here tonight, and thank you,
you're welcome.
Board Member Sorkin and Board Member Addy, I do have some clarifications for you two. Evidently, school board works different than city government. So when we spoke on the phone the other day, anyhow, the reason I'm here is the girls hockey team is in desperate need of jerseys. They have not had jerseys since 2006. When we spoke on the phone the other day, I was under the impression that they were approved, they were budgeted for. That's how the difference between the school board and the city. The junior varsity is currently wearing the old varsity jerseys from about 1999. I understand you're going to move forward with consolidation. I understand all of that. It has been budgeted for. Coach Edstrom had turned in a design a year ago, right around now, June maybe. In the process of switching coaches to Coach Fitzgerald, it was so close to go time. He needed to get on the ice with the team. He didn't have time to lay out designs. He's done it over the summer. He has since submitted them out to A.D. Scott, who submitted them to Superintendent Carey. She received an email back saying, we are ordering nothing in black and gold. These are inherent costs. Until this whole entire process goes through, which I was one that was under the impression it wasn't happening until 23. Do we not take care of our own kids? Right. Do we not give them what they need within the process? I mean, these jerseys that these kids are wearing, we're mending them every year. They are stained, they are torn, they are garbage. This is going to be the 14th season with them. Even the football team got their new ones last year, and then their replacement ones last week. So I don't understand why the girls program, the hockey program, since we are already co-opted, why we are being slighted and not being able to get what our girls need.
So for clarification, you said that money was budgeted for?
It had to have been budgeted. Nobody would have gone through designing a jersey if it wasn't.
Jeff, can you shed some light on that maybe? Have some information?
Yeah, I mean, my response to the AD was that we're not, until we have our processes down, we're not going to be ordering stuff. That's not to say that we're not going to, but there has to be some timelines in place and before we're going to commit to that.
So the money was budgeted for, so I'll take that as the money was set aside for them jerseys, correct?
Yeah.
Is that how I look at it?
Yeah.
Okay, do we know what that amount was?
No.
So my concern with this, when I heard about it, is like through all of the talks that we've had in the last 2 years, we were adamant that even though we're getting pulled over here in this direction of all of our planning that we're doing for the academies and potentially, or in our new elementaries at that time of potential, that we still have our decisions to make for our day-to-day operating for our students. And so that's where I get stuck, is that these girls are still going to be playing this sport for the next few years, you know. And I do personally have an issue if, and I don't mean to make it a girl boy thing, but I can't help it. I do have an issue if we're going 14 seasons without our girls stuff being replaced, and our boys are getting it, and I'm sorry, we were in collaboration talks last year when the football jerseys came. So I feel strongly about
And the
that.
track team jersey, the track outfits last year, and I believe some baseball uniforms too.
And I believe that this is how I feel, when we go forward, if it was budgeted for before the collaboration talks were, going forward, it's basically the cost of doing business. You know what I'm
It's
saying?
an inherent cost.
Right. It's the cost of doing business. I guess I would strongly urge that we figure out what that number was for these jerseys, and yeah, we don't know how long we're going to be operating as the Golden Bears. It could be another 4 years. It could be another 3 years. It could be 2 years. We don't know. But still, we want to look good on the ice.
Years, you're talking some of these kids' entire careers.
I would assume that if we budgeted for those jerseys, it was their time in the rotation, because I know there's a jersey rotation. I would assume that it was their time, and that's why it was budgeted, correct?
I keep hearing about a jersey rotation, but no one seems to know what it is or how it works. And I will say that I don't think, the football jerseys were in desperate shape. And that is a sport unlike most where you're literally part of it is ripping people down by their jersey. It happens in hockey occasionally, and I'm certainly not suggesting that we don't get the girls their hockey jerseys, but the football is absolutely in desperate shape. It was embarrassing what the kids had to wear.
And Chipper, unless I missed my guess, they had jerseys in 2010, and then they got them again last year.
And I've also had a conversation, it's not germane to what you're talking about. I also had a conversation with a head coach today that says that the girls' basketball is in desperate need of jerseys as well. Not many, just some. Okay, but they're working on trying to get the pattern or whatever, whoever made those jerseys to get. So that's just something that I guess I don't mean to take away from you, but
designing them
just
is a project. It's, you don't just slap the bear at them and call it a day.
Well, can I bring up, so one of my conversations, when I had the conversation with you, one of the things that stuck out at the end of our conversation is the jersey that was cut off of a girl and had to be sewn back together.
Paramedics
because
cut
it
it
had
off.
to be used because they don't have enough extra jerseys for the girls.
Really, our kids are out there looking like garbage is what it comes down to. And it's really, really sad.
I think you've done your best with what you've had to work with, and there is a saying, nothing lasts forever.
Very true.
I think other than just the budgeting issue, whether it was budgeted or not, I wasn't on the board, but there might have been a resolution to approve the buying of those jerseys, and it hasn't happened. And to your point, Kelly, about the girl-boy thing, there's actually a legal issue, a Title IX, federal Title IX, equality of money and conditions and facilities and whatever else for boys and girls sports. So, it could come down to that.
We know it can be an issue.
Yes,
Yeah,
it can
There's
be.
a reason there's a law.
I totally support it. It's getting those jerseys.
I agree. It's long overdue. 2000. I can imagine what they smell like.
We would have to get them ordered by the middle of August to have them for this season. The design is done. Edie Scott has it. And the order.
Do we know the cost?
I don't. Coach Fitzgerald would know that, or Edie Scott would know it. I am not sure. It outfits the entire JV and varsity with the exact same jersey. So there's, due to numbers, some girls will play varsity, but they will also play JV. In the past, they've had to switch jerseys, had to switch numbers for that. This is one set that will go, to my understanding, that will go all the way through the numbers. And if, number 3 plays varsity, but she also plays JV, there'll be no switch in jerseys.
Okay.
I suggest that we put it on our next board meeting, but in the meantime, knowing that, you've got the feeling around here that that we're going for it, just start the process going, and we'll put it, I would suggest putting it on the next board meeting.
Okay.
Well, is it a?
The approval, the formal approval,
The formal approval.
but you can hear now that you know, probably
So-
start going ahead with the
So
process.
AD Scott can move forward?
I would say,
So
I
I
think we
guess
have
I would
to-
like the direction to come from Jeff versus us, because we don't direct employees, that we
Yeah.
work with Jeff,
Right.
and
but
Jeff
we will
directs the
approve
employees.
the,
So one thing that I would
expenditure.
like to have to see, Jeff, is taking a look at the current, this year's budget that we did approve. If there's not money in it, then what would you recommend of where that money would come from?
we can
No,
find money.
So we're prepared for it.
Okay.
Okay. So Jeff will work with the athletic director in regards to that.
Do we have to
Getting-
put it on another,
It's already been approved.
okay.
So
Is that
they
taking
can show us
business on something not on the agenda, though? I mean,
So is that something, Jeff, that?
are we taking action on something not on the agenda?
I don't think
It
so.
was already approved, he said.
Yeah, the money's been.
It's already
approved,
been
so-
approved
So Jeff's gonna
previously.
tell the athletic director to just order them.
If the money's in the budget, we don't have to approve every single spending of the money in our budget.
But it was already approved,
already
and
budgeted.
like Michelle said, it was already approved, and that's why she's here, is because she's saying
You know,
it's
it wa-
already
it
been
was
approved,
budgeted
why
for.
why
What
aren't we
I'm-
getting them?
In reading the last 2 years of minutes, what I'm seeing is you guys vote the final approval on it, not the initial.
Now, not to split hairs, but I totally agree with it. But take, for example, when we get new band uniforms, we formally approve the expenditure and the cost. So that's all I'm saying. I don't want to make an issue of it.
No, transparency and doing it correctly is always what's important.
So,
So do you want this, they have to be ordered by mid-August, correct?
Mid-August to get them
So-
for November. They're going to take 10 weeks. So that puts us to the end of October. We usually start sometime first week and a half in November. The girls start.
So when's
So
our
I mean,
next,
it's getting tight.
August 12th.
August 12th, so we can approve this on August 12th then?
It's,
I mean, we
the
can
dollar
approve
amount-
the,
Thirty minutes.
right,
From what I understand, the dollar amount of it has already been approved. So to me, what needs to be done is Jeff or Jojo, I don't think was here at that time, but Jeff can look into how much was approved already, and that's what they've got to spend.
okay. So we don't have to
We
insert
shouldn't have to
ourselves
take,
into this.
we shouldn't have to take any more action on it because it was already taken. It sounds as though it might have been a year ago, but it,
I think
action
it
was
was the whole
taken.
thing of we're just not ordering anything,
Okay.
you know, so, and I
Well,
understand.
Which I
Well,
get
well-
to some degree. I mean, so I don't want to nail Jeff
Right.
for that,
Well-
because I get that to some degree. I just think these ones in
Yeah, well-
particular are just long overdue.
Just so you're aware, when the initial order came in, there was, you know what, I don't, this isn't
We'll
even a
move
board
past,
discussion.
we'll move past that, and we'll just give it to the direction of Superintendent Carey to work with that athletic director to get these ordered in a timely fashion. So
Wonderful.
you can have them ordered.
Thank you very
And
much.
I do believe that the board would, you know, consensus on the board that I do believe that that's the direction we want to go. I
Okay.
guess, or the direction we want Superintendent Carey to take to get them ordered.
Okay, I don't want to keep anybody here all night. Thank you. We appreciate it.
Okay.
The girls appreciate it.
you know,
Thank
too,
you.
I'd like to just mention though, this instance and then maybe other ones that may come forward before a formal consolidation happens, I think it's justified and bona fide and everything to use this money now for our things now, because we are going to get extra consolidation money for the consolidation process and the transition, so.
Okay.
So, you know, the boys and girls basketball programs, we're going to come to you on the 12th with the same request because numbers for jerseys were not enough for what we had. So
just keep in mind, again, we
that's
will be
coming
getting
in 2 weeks,
consolidation
correct.
money
We just
to
didn't have
cover
our
these
numbers prepared
expenditures.
for you today.
But with my
So
conversation,
you're aware though, that's not following the chain of command. I mean, you need to.
Well, no, we started it. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you there,
but I mean, as I suggested to you per our phone conversation, do bring your numbers. I mean, you can bring your numbers forward with with the athletic director with you, if she chooses to be here, to present your numbers for what it's going to cost to replace them. So the board has some idea of what, you know, what kind of money we're looking at.
Certainly.
Okay? All right, any more public comment?
I wasn't going to say anything, but I am. I'm just a concerned citizen. I'm a mom, I'm a grandmother, and I'll be honest.
Would you give your name for those who don't?
Laurel Rowan, and I was not for the collaboration the way it was written. I'm not saying I'm not for something. I wasn't just for what went through, but it did, and it is what it is, and now we're on to the next step. So when I heard the consolidation, and I'll be like Michelle, I thought it was 2022, 23. The sophomores, the juniors, the seniors can live their UG life. The 7th graders, the 8th graders, the 9th graders, they will learn to accept what's going to happen. My grandson will be a senior. Somebody's got to be a senior. He has to come to that decision, what he wants to do. He's got 3 years to do it, so do his friends. But when I hear that this could go through as fast as next year, wow, that really concerned me. Because when we go to the meetings, we asked a consolidation. Mr. Carey can tell you I questioned many times, and it was, don't worry about consolidation. This is collaboration. Okay, so we listened to what we were told. And in 2 months, it's all changed. Now collaborations, you know, that's done, so we're going to consolidate. And now we hear it's not going to come back to us, which we were told it'd be a public vote. I don't know why you're concerned with a public vote. I think even many of the people who were against collaboration are now accepting it is what it is. And I guess what I get so upset about is everyone who was for this and pushing it was about the kids. It's about the kids. It's about the kids. If I heard it one more time, I swear I would have screamed. Because sometimes I don't know if it is about the kids. Because now we might have 10th graders and 11th graders who might not be EG. Because if you consolidate sooner than later, I wouldn't trust anybody anymore to say, we'll leave the sports, we'll leave the band, we'll leave the debate team, we'll leave the theater, we'll leave y'all alone for 2 more years till we get to that fancy new building. I wouldn't trust anybody. So now we got 10th and 11th graders. And there they are. Thought they could be EG Bears to the end. And 7 people on a board are deciding their lives. Can't they just stay who they are? Let the 7th, 8th, and 9th graders deal with what they have to deal with. And maybe bring it to the vote of the people so there is no anger to you guys. I wouldn't want to be one of you. Let it go to the public. Public gets crabby. Public gets mean. Maybe we all need to grow up and learn not to talk nasty on Facebook. Just seriously. Just can't we be democratic people? Just give us the vote. That's all I'm saying.
Can I just add one part? I'm not going to address the whole thing, but as far as the sooner rather than later consolidation, we don't currently have a building that can house it. So I mean, we're not talking about moving hordes of kids.
I never said you were going to move the kids.
The reason that we're talking about sooner rather than later is the massive amount of systems that have to be integrated. We need to start that sooner than later.
And I'm not disagreeing with some of that, Mr. Carey. What I just see happening, because I don't trust anybody anymore, because we were told certain things, you got your vote, and now things are changing. Surprise, surprise.
What's changing?
Yeah.
2020 consolidation possibility?
And I'll go back to all the systems. I mean, we got business managers,
and I understand you. But what I am saying is it won't be long before we hear we're going to be combining the band, we'll combine the choir, well, they probably already combined, theater, debate, sports, because it'll be cheaper, less busing. I can hear it already. And I'm just feeling bad for 10th and 11th graders. Seniors are safe, but the 10th and 11th graders, they all, and their parents might have voted for all this because it was not going to affect my child, and now it might.
So can I just, one little piece to that, and it literally is just a statement. I wanted to be clear that I don't know where the 2023 came from, people. I don't know where it was a fact that it was going to go to the public. I did, any time I spoke about it to people, I said clearly that the consolidation was separate than the referendum that we were voting on, which is fact, and that the consolidation is a separate process. And I did tell people even back then that that could go for the board voting or the community voting. And so I mean, I don't know where I'm getting these commitments, because I can tell you, any person I spoke about it, I tried to be as clear as possible on what information we did know in the moment.
Well, I went to more than one meeting, I did, and consolidation was not allowed to be talked about, though those were very big concerns. You know, it wasn't that we were against it, concerned about it. And one of my concerns were the teachers and the unions. I shouldn't say where I work. We consolidated, and we have like 5 or 6 unions. That's horrible. So I was actually concerned about the teachers, but I was told not to worry about it.
Well,
and we'd be partnership.
But
that is what you said. It would be a partnership. Don't worry, we're going to draw joint partnership papers. We'll work under those, and then we'll start working on the consolidation. It's going to take a couple years to get everything in order. I know I heard that at meetings.
No, that's
going to take a long time to get it in order.
We've got 3 years to figure it out. We've got 3 years to figure it out.
That's what I was told, and so that's why I'm saying the July 2020 is like,
no.
And I worry for the kids.
You have to put the plan in motion to start integrating these systems.
And not all,
But I think we.
I have a soon-to-be 8th grader, and not all the kids that you are referencing share the same, I want to be in Evelyn Gilbert Bear. I mean, they have, I mean, my son had he's so excited to play football that he had 8 kids on his team. I mean, you got to have at least 11 that play both sides of the ball. It's, I mean, just one
What I
example.
said was the 7th, 8th, and 9th graders.
It's not everybody that shares that same opinion.
No, I never said that, though. I said the 7th, 8th, and 9th graders have time to prepare, whether they like it or not. I'm just saying.
And all kids are very excited.
But I would see this as up to 2023, at the end of the school year of the beginning of the school year 2023, or the end of 2023, that you would graduate as a Golden Bear. And once you moved into that new building, that year you would graduate as the new team name, new color. I don't know where you would, I don't know where, I guess that came about. I mean, with
I think that would be part of the conversations. That would have to happen, so.
Okay. But I'm just saying.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You know, I'd just like to back her up a little bit.
Your name?
What's your name?
Disappointed with
Your name?
Thank you.
My name is Mark Krumpetich, and I'd like to back up a little bit what she said. You know, I've had emails and discussions with a lot of you already, but 2023, I'd like to see anything that was sent out by the board with all the advertising we did. I'd like to see anything, any Facebook post by your collaboration clan saying anything about a 2020. I've never heard it until I read the paper. And maybe you guys haven't heard a lot, and you know, everybody likes to say, well, they were against it, they're the ones going to be at the meeting, they're going to be opposed. We're just concerned. You know, 2023 has always been what was talked about. How many times do we hear Noel say, we have 3 years, Jeff. We have 3 years to figure this out.
And it's going to take all of those.
Nobody said we're going to put everybody together right now with 6 schools. I mean, it's crazy.
Well, I mean, the 2020 you're not putting together. You're not putting it together. You're starting the process.
When you say, Jeff, when you say we're going to roll out a broad thing, rolling out with Virginia is scary. Okay, I'm sorry, but nobody wants to say that, but it is. They're in trouble. Financially, the city.
No, they're not. I mean, don't go there.
Yeah.
Well, bottom line is the school's not going to be open until 2023. So we still have a responsibility of taking care of the kids that are in school now. Look at her example with the jerseys. I mean,
School
really?
opens in 2022, correct? Isn't that the current?
Yeah.
The academy.
3 years.
Yeah.
Well, it depends when you're talking. Not 2020.
How do you vote on this when you guys don't even have land secured yet? How do you vote on this? You don't even have your land.
Mr. Mr. Chair. I mean.
Yeah, I mean,
let's
that's,
move on.
there's, I mean, I guess I don't know where you get your information that there is no land. There is an intent to buy.
Is it
Mr. Chair.
secured?
Yes, okay. Order, let's just, Adam, go ahead.
Adam Rowan, first I'll start with apologize for cutting you off earlier there. Jeff, I do my best to teach the boys not to cut people off, and I did too, so my apologies. My suggestion to the group is try to take the information that you guys are talking about and getting it into the public, because you're right. The things that people are fighting and arguing with you guys about right now, maybe they don't know it all because it constantly is going through a different ear and out a different mouth. Welcome to where we live and where everybody lives. My kid hears one thing, he tells his buddy the other thing. Okay, that's life. But if we can be more efficient on getting the truthful information on what we're voting for in consolidation out, it might get people to relax a little bit and say, oh, okay, they're not trying to shove kids together, they're not trying to shove taxes together, or whatever else rumors we're hearing. It'll just be the bold truth of what you guys are talking about. And there's a possibility what you're talking about, nobody in here will even get upset about, but there's a possibility too that people will get very worked up.
Adam, the example that you just gave is exactly what we talked about on Thursday, why we want to do it sooner than later, because right now we have so many forms of information coming from here, and if we had, we're looking to streamline that so that there isn't that confusion. I mean, like I opened up, I mean, we don't currently have a school, we're not going to cram all the kids together next year. It'd be foolish on a good day. The plan all along was, I mean, they will combine when that building's done.
That's right, that's how I understand it.
But there is a ton of work in combining. We don't want to start that process when they get in the building. I mean, that process has to start now.
And I don't think anybody in here is going to disagree with exactly what was just said. But the problem is that's not the word that's going through the community. The community is hearing the girls aren't getting their uniforms, the boys won't get this or that because we're talking about consolidation.
I think it's defining consolidation, because I mean that's the one thing that has come up is defining it, because even if this went to the community for a vote in November, the same process that Jeff is speaking of will have to happen. So it's irrelevant of who's voting for it, the same consolidation process has to happen. So I think people need to be aware of what the consolidation truly means. It doesn't mean that we take a vote and then tomorrow our kids are coming together. And that's the concern that I keep. So when people are saying the 2023, or 2022 or 2023, whatever, for when the academies is built, I think we're actually speaking of the same language. People are envisioning them coming together at that time. And I don't necessarily look at consolidation happening, just as Jeff said. We're not pulling our high schools together. We don't have an opportunity to do that. But there's a lot more in consolidation than combining our student body. And so I think those are the conversations that would have to happen. The same for the conversations of who's going to graduate in Evelyn Gilbert, and if we're moving forward to consolidation and going forward on that, do the kids, while they're independent in our high school, do they still have an ability to graduate as an Evelyn Gilbert Golden Bear? You know, that's a great question, because I don't necessarily know that that's off the table because we're working on the consolidation process. So I do think that there's misinformation, and I would challenge anyone, because I'm sorry, there are some rumor mongers out there in this community, and some of them are the high school up in Britt. That is, I'm sorry, that is ridiculous. And I would love for anyone to have a conversation with me about that, because we have never spoken about any such property at this table, ever. Right. And so I really would love, I am happy to try to get the same and the right information out to everyone, but I challenge anyone, if you're hearing some of that rumor stuff and that, I mean, it's the fear-mongering that happens. If you're hearing that, that needs to be challenged, and I don't care what side of the table you're sitting on, that needs to be stopped in our community. That's where the divisions are created.
And I'd just like to say that this whole topic that everybody's been speaking of, that is the reason why I asked for a meeting, for a work session so that some of those questions that I know people are asking, because honest to God, I have them too. I mean, people, remember, I have a daughter that's going into 10th grade too. She is affected as well. She's got kids younger than me. He's got kids younger than me. I mean, we are affected by these decisions as well. So that's why I suggested a work session, so some of the details of what it looks like, we can get answers to, so that we can tell the people. I know when the whole referendum was going on, I told people, because consolidation did come up, and I told people consolidation makes sense, but right now the funding is for collaboration. We need to go one step at a time. And we're at that step for the consolidation now. We're just trying to figure out what that looks like and how that is going to come about. Because even if, with everybody sitting here, I mean, everybody is saying consolidation 2023, right? I mean, or 2022, because my understanding was the doors were going to open in most likely the fall of 2022. All of us are here talking about consolidation. So in my head, people did kind of think about the consolidation because everybody has talked about it even in this room tonight. So we just need to get some of those questions that people are asking. I didn't pull the wool over anybody's eyes. And we just need, for, like I said, for my conscience, I need to get some of those questions answered for me as well as for the community. But I'm not going to say that I have the clarity that I would bring it to a public vote or board vote, because so far, everybody that spoke said they expected consolidation. So that's all I want.
And I would expect that when we have our study session on this on this resolution, that the people that are in here that have questions, because rumors fly, and I've gotten some emails from people that were just ridiculously full of false information. And borderline kind of harassing, but I'll just take it because I'm a big boy. Okay, I knew what I signed up for. Okay, but I would expect you guys, any of the people that are for, I mean, are you against the collaboration completely, or are these people against? I mean, I get this feeling that the emails I got, people are against consolidation completely, regardless. They're not like consolidating next week or in 5 years from now. They're just against it completely, from what I get with some of the emails. So I
didn't get that. I just thought that was the timing, not being against.
Well, it was.
So then we need to have more discussion on the timing then.
Well,
not necessarily the consolidation.
And what it means.
Sorry.
I mean,
so I would expect those people that are in this room that need some clarification to come and hear it from 7 board members instead of hearing something on Facebook.
Just a suggestion. The schools sent out a lot, put things in the paper, etc., for the collaboration. Let's not stop doing that now that consolidating is here. Put it in the paper. Send a fancy flyer. They're bright. They cost money, I get it, but if there's information there that people can utilize, then send it to them.
I don't disagree with you, Adam. It's just, we got a lot of balls up and juggling.
Yeah.
And I don't have any solid information for you. I mean, we haven't decided anything.
That's the difficult part of the information putting forward. We have to start the process.
So that's. If there's too many balls in the air.
Because it starts the process.
It starts the process.
The resolution also stated colors, mascots, names, the whole 9 yards. And the resolution came before the joint powers agreement. It has to go in order. The joint powers agreement, you would think, would come first.
I agree with that. I agree with what Paulie said with that. It probably should have been different parts of the agenda. And I think people also need to realize that Duluth East and Duluth Denfeld, they're one district. North St. Paul and Tartan, they're one district. Apple Valley and Rosemont, they're one district. Consolidation doesn't mean you lose your identity necessarily at all.
I don't think that's the point.
I think that's the primary issue here.
It's not the consolidation issue, because that's not the issue to me. Okay? If it's inevitable, it's inevitable. But I don't believe you have to consolidate before you can work out these details. I think you work out the details and then consolidate, because you can make all the changes that you want in administration with contracts and everything, and you can level people up and equalize them out. You can do that whether you're consolidated or you're still separate districts. okay?
Part of the process.
And it's a timing issue.
Collaboration is working together towards the end goal, that you work on that before.
We have been doing that.
It's like, to me, it's like you're gonna get married and then you're gonna get engaged after. You work out all of your stuff in your engagement, and we're gonna get married, we're committed to each other. Work out the details, and then, boom, you're married.
Mr. Shanlon?
Mr. Addy, you know, why don't you take this off your shoulders, give it back to the public to vote on. You know what, this is a railroad job here. Right from the start, I was against it. You're in a big hurry to do something that's going to affect this population of Gilbert and Evelyn for a long time. And you know what? That vote was real close, much closer than you think. So if you take half of that, with the amount of people that were encouraged that our buildings are falling apart, which they aren't, this was a railroad job from the start. When are you people going to stop? And let the people speak.
I don't believe
We
that.
did let the people
Yeah, it was a railroad job.
Yeah.
Let me just tell you that
Okay,
right now.
thank you.
Nobody's wanting
hey,
to stand up and say something. This guy right here, you
Order.
run. He's not in charge of you.
Order, Mr. Zamlin.
I had to get it off my chest, Mr. Addy.
That's fine. Whatever you need to do, I
You
guess.
guys need to quit being a rubber stamp and have some say over the superintendent before it's too late.
Dale, that's inappropriate, I'm sorry.
Goodbye.
It's inappropriate, very
I needed to say it.
Any more public comment?
I think his name is Dale, not Darren.
Dale.
I've got to say something. I'm sorry. My name is Murray Anderson. I'm the chair of the Virginia School Board. And I am sure, Mr. Crumpetich, that Mr. Awney would love to sit down with the books and show you we are not in trouble, number one. Number two, in March, at our collaboration meeting, you and I both sat there publicly and said consolidation will happen after the vote, if it is possible.
Correct.
So everybody should have known that at that point in time. I'll be quiet, I'm sorry.
Thanks, Murray.
I have to just say to that, Murray, that you can have multiple questions on a ballot, and consolidation could have been one of the questions. You could have 2, 3, 4, and some questions are predicated on others, and but it wasn't. But it wasn't, and so we could have known for sure if we had put that on the ballot, but we didn't. So now I think we need to ask the public and know for sure. It's probably going to be that way. Maybe it won't, but at least we'll know for sure, and the public will have their voice. We go to them when we want money, we want excess levy referendums, and we go to them for all kinds of things that we want from them, and I think they need to have their voice on this too. And you know what? All of this talk about, it might turn out just the way you say, but don't be afraid of it. If you're so sure that everybody understood it as consolidation, then there's no problem. There's nothing to fear.
So what I get here is there's a side that people don't want to consolidate whatsoever. They want to remain separate districts.
There'll always be those people. Okay?
And then you get people that want to consolidate. I mean, I would, to me, I have no skin in the game
The majority will rule.
Okay, I have no skin in the game anymore, but it would be nice if we could get our sports teams together. I mean, in 2023 or 22, when this opens up, we can get a basketball team. They had them that make it past the second round. It'd be nice to get a high school hockey team that can get past the second round. You know, and it's not all about the sports, but it's, I just don't envision two districts. I envision this whole thing, this consolidation, as in the two districts coming together as one. And as far as people saying that Virginia is hated by us, or we're hated, or everybody hates Virginia, or everybody hates Evelyn Gilbert, I don't believe that for 1 second, because my kid hangs out with tons of Virginia kids. They're going on mission trips. They do all kinds of things together still. And I guess I don't know where that information is coming from, that these kids don't get along. That's what's just mind-boggling. That's all I have to say. Okay, that's all right. 15.0, board member topics. Tom?
Well, I guess they were a pretty interesting meeting here. We covered a lot of ground, and like putting out the information, I would like to make sure that the correct information is put out, you know, and not, because the way that whole, some of that went, there was not one plus for our buildings. I mean, there'd be one plus, wasn't there? Something that they lasted 100 years, would there be a plus? See, that information to me, it was lopsided as far as I'm concerned, but that's my personal opinion. But like I said before, I will go with what the community decides. And that's who I represent, and that's who I will go with. And I commend the board for saying, hey, let's put this out to the voters, and let's let them give us some good input.
We haven't made that decision though yet.
Yeah.
That decision hasn't been made. We're just having a work session.
Well, that's what I would like to see, my personal opinion.
I think enough has been said. I pass.
Okay. All right, I'll just say that, yeah, I don't think it was fair for one of the public members here to throw the stick at Jeff or throw it at me. I think we're a board of 7, and it ain't. I don't make the decision. It's us that make the decision. If it goes to public vote, it's the public vote. I guess he thinks that the decision has already been made, which was an unfair argument on his part. So.
And on his behalf, he's entitled to his opinion.
But it wasn't a truth. I mean, his opinion.
We're going to talk about the truth here.
Okay, all right.
Moving on.
We
Okay.
don't really
All
wait
right.
on that road.
We're in board member topics, but okay, I'm done.
I have nothing more to say today.
I have nothing more to say as well.
I look forward to the process and what comes out of it.
Yep.
Nothing today.
Okay. On that being said, 16.0, can I get a motion to adjourn?
I will make a motion. Second.
Okay. All in favor? Adjourn.
Aye.
Aye.